Have you ever heard of the most dangerous sea route in Africa? Welcome to the Gulf of Guinea, a place as rich in history as it is fraught with peril. This maritime corridor stretches more than 2,000 miles from Liberia to Gabon, serving as a vital artery for global trade. But it's not just commodities that traverse these waters. It's also the scene of some of the most audacious acts of piracy in modern times. Nestled between key African nations such as Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon, the Gulf of Guinea is a gateway to the Atlantic. Its vast coastal plain provides easy access to fertile lands, making it ideal for agriculture. But this same accessibility also makes it a hotbed for pirate activities. So how did the Gulf of Guinea become such a hotspot for maritime piracy? Let's dive into its history. The history of the Gulf of Guinea is as rich as it is tumultuous. From the 16th century, this vast stretch of water, extending from Liberia to Gabon, has played a pivotal role in international trade. Ships, laden with precious cargo, sailed through its waters, connecting Africa to the rest of the world. The Gulf's abundant natural resources, including oil, gold, and other precious commodities, made it a beacon for merchants seeking prosperity. But as the saying goes, where there is treasure, pirates are never far behind. The first pirate attacks in the Gulf of Guinea date back to the 16th century, when seafarers drawn to the region's wealth turned to piracy as a means of getting their share. Despite the risks, the lucrative trade in the region continued, and the Gulf of Guinea grew in strategic importance. The Gulf's geography has always been a double-edged sword. Its location, nestled between key African countries such as Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon, made it a vital gateway to the Atlantic. Yet its vast coastal plain provided easy access to the sea, making it an ideal hunting ground for pirates. The Ural Mountains, a natural division that separates the region's industrial north from its agricultural south, directly influenced the Gulf's economy. The north, rich in minerals and other resources, attracted industry, while the south, with its fertile lands, drew farmers and agricultural workers. This division of labour, while beneficial to the region's economy, also made it a target for pirates seeking to exploit the area's wealth. Despite the constant threat of piracy, the Gulf of Guinea remained a vital economic corridor for the riparian countries. Its rich deposits of natural resources, especially oil, drove the region's economic growth. But the pirates were never far behind, their audacious attacks causing chaos and instability in the region. Piracy has always been a part of the Gulf's history, but in recent years it has escalated to alarming levels. In 2019 alone, more than 146 people were kidnapped, and oil theft and crew kidnapping remain a major risk. This increase in piracy has threatened the Gulf's status as a vital trade route, forcing the world to take notice and take action. Today, the Gulf of Guinea is more synonymous with piracy than trade. The tranquil waters and verdant coastlines belie a darker reality, one marred by the rise of modern-day piracy. This resurgence is not the swashbuckling adventure romanticized in popular culture, but a grim testament to the desperation and lawlessness that can thrive in underprotected waters. Piracy in the Gulf has evolved over the centuries, from raiders in wooden galleons to organized crime syndicates armed with sophisticated technology. Today's pirates are not just after gold and jewels, they're after the black gold that flows beneath the Gulf's waters: oil. The region's rich oil reserves, coupled with lax maritime security, have created a perfect storm for pirates. In the year 2019 alone, an alarming 146 people were kidnapped in piracy incidents. These aren't just statistics, they're fathers, mothers, sons and daughters, their lives forever scarred by their experiences. But it's not just about the human cost. Piracy also threatens one of the region's most vital economic lifelines: trade. Pirates frequently target oil tankers, siphoning off their precious cargo to sell on the black market. This illicit trade in stolen oil doesn't just affect the companies involved, but also drives up global oil prices, impacting everyone from the motorist at the pump to the homeowner heating their house. The rise of piracy in the Gulf of Guinea is a complex issue interwoven with economic disparity, political instability, and insufficient maritime security. It's a problem that doesn't just affect those who live and work in the region, but ripples out to impact the global economy. And so, The question remains, how can we turn the tide on piracy in the Gulf of Guinea? Efforts are underway both locally and internationally to bolster maritime security and provide safer passage for those braving these treacherous waters. This rise in piracy has had a significant impact not just on the Gulf, but on the global economy. As we move forward, it's crucial that we continue to shine a light on this issue, striving for a future where the Gulf of Guinea is once again known for its trade, not its piracy. Piracy isn't just a threat to sailors, it's a threat to economies. Let's delve into the economic implications of piracy in the Gulf of Guinea. This region is a bustling hub of commerce, teeming with ships transporting oil, minerals, and other valuable commodities. It is the lifeblood of many African economies, contributing significantly to the wealth of nations like Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon. However, the spectre of piracy looms large over these waters, casting a shadow on the economic prosperity of these nations. Piracy, my dear listeners, is not just about daring high seas heists. It's a complex issue with far-reaching economic consequences. When pirates lay siege to a ship, it's not just the cargo at risk. The cost of human life, the ransom demands, and the subsequent negotiations all add to the economic toll. Now imagine being an insurance company in this scenario. The risk of insuring vessels navigating these perilous waters is high, leading to increased insurance premiums. This increase in cost is inevitably passed on to the consumer, affecting global prices. What's more, the threat of piracy discourages foreign investment, depriving these countries of much-needed capital for economic growth. And let's not forget the security costs. The governments of these nations have to invest heavily in maritime security to protect their waters. This is money that could have been used for infrastructure, education, or healthcare. The cost of piracy, therefore, extends beyond the high seas and into the lives of everyday people. Moreover, piracy disrupts trade routes, causing delays in the delivery of goods. This disruption affects supply chains worldwide, leading to price volatility and economic instability. In essence, piracy is like a leech, draining the economies of these nations, siphoning off resources, discouraging investment, and causing a ripple effect that is felt globally. It's a vicious cycle, where the economic instability caused by piracy further fuels the desperation that leads to piracy in the first place. Faced with such dire consequences, what are the nations along the Gulf of Guinea doing to combat this issue? We'll explore this in our next scene. Stay tuned, folks. In response to the growing piracy threat, nations along the Gulf of Guinea have taken action. This is no small feat, as the challenge of securing these waters is as vast as the Gulf itself. Yet the nations that line its shores, such as Cameroon and Nigeria, have taken the bull by the horns, implementing stringent maritime security laws to curb piracy. One such law is Nigeria's Suppression of Piracy and Other Maritime Offences Act. This piece of legislation, passed in 2019, is Nigeria's first dedicated anti-piracy law. It provides a broad legal framework for the prosecution of maritime offences, including piracy. This law has been instrumental in Nigeria's fight against piracy, deterring would-be pirates and providing a legal basis for prosecuting those who dare to defy it. Cameroon, on the other hand, has invested heavily in its naval capabilities. The country has procured patrol boats and has substantially increased its maritime surveillance. This has allowed Cameroon to respond more effectively to piracy incidents, often reaching the scene of an attack before the pirates can make their escape. These efforts by individual nations have had a significant impact on piracy rates. Between 2020 and 2022, there was a downward trend in attacks. The International Maritime Bureau reported a decrease in the number of pirate attacks on the Gulf of Guinea, signalling that the tide might be turning in this battle against maritime crime. However, it's not all smooth sailing. There are still significant challenges to overcome. The vastness of the Gulf and the sophistication of the pirates make it difficult for individual nations to secure these waters on their own. Moreover, many of these pirates operate out of failed states or areas with weak governance, making it challenging to apprehend and prosecute them. As a result, despite the advancements made, piracy in the Gulf of Guinea remains a serious concern. While these efforts have had some success, the Gulf of Guinea cannot combat piracy alone. The fight against piracy requires international cooperation, and the nations of the Gulf of Guinea are reaching out for just that. After all, the Gulf is not just Africa's problem, but a global one. The fight against piracy in the Gulf of Guinea is a global effort. This statement holds true when we consider the joint initiatives taken by the Gulf nations and international organizations to ensure the safety of this crucial maritime route. The Gulf of Guinea, a treacherous yet vital gateway for global trade, has witnessed a surge in piracy incidents over the years. This escalating threat has not only raised eyebrows, but also stirred the international community into action. In a bid to combat these maritime crimes, nations such as Nigeria, Cameroon and Ghana have joined hands with international organizations like the United Nations and the International Maritime Organization. Together, they've initiated several measures aimed at enhancing maritime security. One of the key strategies has been the deployment of international naval forces to patrol the Gulf waters. These patrols serve as a deterrent, making pirates think twice before attempting to hijack ships or kidnap crew members. Regular surveillance also aids in the quick response to any reported incidents, increasing the chances of thwarting attacks and rescuing victims. Investing in advanced technology and intelligence is another tactic employed to keep the waters safe. Satellites, drones, and advanced surveillance systems have been introduced to monitor the waters round the clock, providing real-time information that aids in swift and effective decision-making. Moreover, there's a growing emphasis on capacity building and legal reforms. The international community supports Gulf nations in strengthening their maritime law enforcement capabilities. This includes training naval officers, providing modern equipment, and assisting in drafting robust anti-piracy laws. These concerted efforts have started to pay off, with a noticeable decline in piracy incidents in recent years. However, the battle is far from over. The issue of maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea remains a critical concern that requires continuous attention, cooperation and commitment from all stakeholders. The Gulf of Guinea is a vital part of our global trade network, and it's up to all of us to ensure its security. So let's continue to work together, reinforcing our collective efforts to safeguard these waters, and by extension, our global economy. The Gulf of Guinea's story is one of wealth, danger and international cooperation. An area that stretches over 3,500 kilometers from Liberia to Gabon, this sea route is as rich in history as it is fraught with peril. Since the 16th century, it has served as a vital passageway for global trade, enriched by a wealth of natural resources that regrettably has also drawn the attention of modern-day pirates. The Gulf's geography is a curious blend of accessibility and division. It serves as a gateway to the Atlantic, neighboured by key African nations such as Nigeria, Ghana and Cameroon. Its vast coastal plain offers easy access to the sea and fertile lands, a blessing for agriculture but also an opportunity for piracy. The Ural Mountains form a natural partition, separating the industrialised region from the more agricultural south, significantly influencing the local economy. Maritime piracy in the Gulf of Guinea has escalated in recent years, with over 146 people kidnapped in 2019 alone. Oil theft and crew kidnapping pose considerable threats to maritime security, causing instability that ripples across the globe. Despite these challenges, the Gulf remains an economic lifeline for the riparian countries, especially with the export of oil. Yet the cost of piracy is high, discouraging investment and inflating global prices due to increased security and insurance expenditures. In response to these threats, local nations like Cameroon and Nigeria have enacted strict maritime security laws, and there's been a notable decrease in pirate attacks between 2020 and 2022. Moreover, international cooperation is more robust than ever, with joint efforts between Gulf nations and international organizations working tirelessly to patrol these waters and ensure the safety of the ships that traverse this crucial route. As we continue to rely on this vital sea route, the importance and challenges of the Gulf of Guinea remain at the forefront of international maritime security.